Hello, friends. Welcome to the inaugural episode of Scarlet and Violet Sundays, where we are going to dive into everything sealed and slabbed in the Scarlet and Violet era. The base set we are going to start with, and then similar to the other daily series throughout the week, we will go in order as far as release date, set release date. And so that'll kind of give you about a every 3 month look at the market, both sealed and slabbed. And we are using TCG Player and eBay. So Scarlet and Violet base set was released on March 31st, 2023. It says there are over 190 cards in the set, and it was used for standard legal play. Just in case you are listening to this and maybe not watching it, I am going to be going over things on the screen. And if you're viewing, thank you so much, first of all, for your viewership. But just in case I do have viewers that listen to it, I will be going over maybe what you can hear, but what you cannot see, if that makes sense. So, in the base set and in the anime as well, one of the big things that Scarlet and Violet introduced was the terrestrialized Pokemon. Uh, if you have not watched the anime, that is something that it's essentially kind of like the Z Ring from the Sun and Moon series, where the Pokemon attack not only gets stronger, but it could also change the typing of the Pokemon. Like in the Horizon series, um, when the captain of the Olivine ship, I forgot his name, but his main partners are Cap, Pikachu, and Charizard. When he terrestrialized Charizard, Charizard turns into a dark type, so that instead of a fire type. So that's just an example of that. And we also have that represented in the artworks of the Pokemon cards as well. And it also introduced illustration rares and special illustration rares. So we're going to go ahead and go to Pokelector, and I'm going to let y'all look at the set. And then we are going to talk about some sealed and some cards from the set. Maybe something to reflect on with this base set is how important will Scarlet and Violet base set be in the history of base sets? A few base sets that come to my mind that are definitely noteworthy would be obvious base set in '99, uh, as well as the black and white base set when they introduced full arts with the Reshiram and Zekrom card. And then another notable base set, and just a completely different time in the hobby, was around 2016-17 when Sun and Moon base set came out, and the hyper rare was the chase without the focus on the artwork, um, like we had in the back end of Sword and Shield era and all of Scarlet Violet era. So the first thing that we're going to look at as we go to TCG Player is this beautiful Scarlet and Violet box. Again, if we're comparing base sets, I am much more of a fan of just even the artwork and the aesthetics of the Scarlet and Violet box compared to like the Sword and Shield. But we have right around a $200 market price with sales at 185, 180, 180, although these both say RIP, so they are not sealed. And I understand that we're in the Scarlet and Violet generation Gen 9 right now. I don't think personally that this price will hold up over time if the box is not sealed. We also have sales at 185, 185, 180, and then a $200 sale right there. We're also going to look at the Pokemon Center exclusive Scarlet and Violet ETB. Now, there were Sword and Shield Pokemon Center exclusive ETBs, starting with Chilling Reign was the first ETB they had a Pokemon Center exclusive box. However, the Scarlet and Violet era introduced the much more scarce, if you will, ETB promo with the Pokemon Center, or what a lot of folks in the hobby call the modern aged first edition stamp on these ETB promos. And the promo actually looks like what it would from the Miraidon or the Koraidon box, but it actually has this stamp on it in the bottom right corner. So that's how you tell the difference. The ETB is looking like it has the same market price as about the booster box, with sales at 195, 190, 194, 200, 200, 200. We all have opinions as far as what the long-term market price will be of these booster boxes in the Scarlet Violet era versus the Pokemon Center exclusive ETB. I personally believe that the Scarlet and Violet, the ETBs, the Pokemon Center ones that we're looking at right now on the screen, could outperform a few of the sealed booster boxes. Obviously, Obsidian Flames is a really good example of that. But you got to think, right? In the booster box, however many hits that you get, I remember in the Sun and Moon it was like 7 or 8. I think it has to be double digits now, that you're not guaranteed the value of the box, right? Where at least in the Pokemon Center ETB, you're guaranteed the promo, so it's a guaranteed hit, and it is a scarcer and more rare hit than what you would get in the usual ETB. So that's a little bit of logic out right there that I like to use, but we will have to see long term. If we go to eBay, we see booster box sales at 200 with $10 shipping, 190, 134, 135, excuse me, but this one's not sealed. And then we also have some Japanese sales right there. And then we have some regular ETB sales right here that I will let y'all look at. We've got to scroll all the way down. If you can't look at the screen, the regular Scarlet and Violet ETBs are right around $60. And we got to scroll all the way down to see that we have a $165 sale on a Pokemon Center exclusive Miraidon Scarlet and Violet ETB that happened March 18th. The first card we're going to look at in this set is this beautiful illustration rare Slowpoke. I'll let you take a gander at this artwork. There's a lot going on in this card by Aoki, right? And if we look at the market, we see the market price is right around $30. We have some Japanese sales right here. We even have a couple of Korean sales. Shout out Crystal Collects. And then we have a $28 sale right here on March 22nd. And as well as some $27 and $26 sales. If we go to eBay, we see the PSA 9 is right around $45. So the price of grading right there is you are not really making a profit as far as if grading is a play or something that you like to do in the hobby. And we see that auctions are going for about $10 less than the buy it now. We've got to scroll a bit down, but we do have a $500 sale. Not sure if it's a good sale or not, but we have a $500 sale right here on a PSA 10 that happened on March 14th. We'll pull up this one. Again, I always recommend that you look at your photos very closely. And it seems to be a legitimate sale with this eBay seller right here having 100% positive feedback with over 500 feedback received. And then prior to that, on the exact same day, one ended at auction for about $100 less. If we look at the pop report, we see 1,057 PSA 9s and 290 PSA 10s. So compared to the Sword and Shield era, to where if you check out my Sword and Shield Sundays, the population is actually higher on the Gem Mint 10 copy compared to the Scarlet and Violet era that you'll see, where it's about a third. So when you look at that multiplier, when you look at that dividend, when you look at the difference from the PSA 9 to PSA 10 pricing, these Scarlet and Violet illustration and special illustration rares could maybe hold up over time, even if it's not a notable Pokemon, a notable artwork. They could do better. Now, time will tell, but that is an interesting pattern that we see right here when it comes to the population reports. The next card we're going to look at in this set is this Drowsy that went all the way to the moon and then came towering down. This thing was almost at $100. I would say even just a good month ago or weeks ago. It is a beautiful artwork. I was able to pick up a copy for $16, not really attempting to collect the card, but just I needed an additional illustration rare filler in an order, and so it was one of those things that I just happy to got lucky on at auction. But Hopefully you're able to get one of these before they went crazy high. We've got market price currently, and you can see that spike right here that happened in the middle of February. Got as high as almost $80. We see our current market price at about 40, with sales happening at 36, 37, $15 for a Japanese, 15 and 15, two more Japanese sales, and then a $43 and $37 English sale respectively. If we go to eBay, $600 or best offer for this PSA 10 Drowsy card. And then we see a tenth of that. I mean, that's a big dividend, y'all. A tenth of that happening right over 60 bucks for a PSA 9. And so maybe the PSA population report will give us a little more context as far as that wide range and price. We have 1,483 PSA 9s with 492 PSA 10s in the Drowsy card. So again, about a third of the PSA 10 to PSA 9 ratio. Does that justify a card being worth 10 times more? Maybe, maybe not. I personally don't think that'll hold long term once we get out of the Scarlet and Violet era, but you never know. I could be 100% wrong on that card. The next illustration rare we're going to look at is the Riolu. I really love this artwork because it kind of looks at like the vantage point that like mom is taking a picture of Riolu. He's broken the dumbbells. He's broken the lamp. You know, he's broken a video game. He's broken the vase. The cotton in the pillow is popping out. It's like, yeah, mom, I trashed the room here. Sorry, gains, bro. But for this Riolu, we've got right at a $25 market price with sales at 25, 23, 24, 25. We do have a sale at 90 that happened today. And then we have two Japanese sales at $14. If we go to eBay, we see that pattern continues as far as what these cards are ending for at buy it now and auction. You know, and I guess where it would really benefit you if you know you at least have a mint copy is if you were, say, for example, setting up at a show or doing a trade or just a hand-to-hand cash to cardboard deal compared to eBay to where you do have to eat some fees, because if you do, you are going to lose on getting your copy coming back as a mint 9. But that is the risk that you take with grading, right? It is an art. It's not a science. It is subjective. Actually, Dan, Catch 'em All Collectibles, go see one of his recent videos. He talked about just a couple of data points when folks send in their raw Pokemons for PSA 9 compared to PSA 10. Not sure. I had looked at this previously. Not sure how far we have to scroll down, but I knew I saw a couple of $250 sales right here, one ending at $250 and the other one respectively at $240. So not really the multiplier that we have similar on the Drowsy card, but again, maybe the PSA population report will give us a little more context. We have 1,118 PSA 9s with 378 PSA 10s. We are going to look at two more cards from this set that are notable cards. This Gardevoir is by far my favorite card in the set. There's just a lot going on here. It looks exactly like a scene from the anime or a movie that Gardevoir is featured in. It's just a beautiful card. We have market price right above $40 with sales happening at 45, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 63, and 52. So it looks like that one, at least with the pattern of sales here on TCG Player, that it's probably closer to a $50 card instead of a $40 card. If we go to eBay, we see the PSA 10s are right at $200. We do have a PSA 10 sale at $202.50 with 6 shipping, and then the PSA 9s fall right around $50, and we have one more PSA 10 $200 sale. So compared to the Drowsy, the split here, the dividend is about a quarter compared to, you know, a 1/10 or a 10x multiplier from the PSA 9 to PSA 10 Drowsy. The Gardevoir EX, these sales, I'm sure will probably hold up over time, or at least something close to it. Certainly, you know, PSA 10 Pokemon cards always tend to grow at a faster rate than the PSA 9s do, but it is interesting to see that range and differential in price. And then, you know what, while I have you on here, let's go ahead. Let's pull up the PSA population report. I neglected to have that tab ready, folks. So if you will bear with me for a few seconds here. That looks like a good sale, 9276. So let's look at the 9s compared to the 10s. We have 3,492 PSA 9s with 3,816 PSA 10s and 17 PSA 9s with qualifiers. So this looks like, at least for the cards we're looking at today, it would be interesting to do a little bit more of a deep dive to all the illustration, the trainers, and the special illustration cards in the set. But this is one to where, similar to those Sword and Shield PSA 9 to PSA 10s, the 10s have a little bit higher, right at the same population as the PSA 9. So that does give us some context there as far as the minimal range in the Gardevoir EX compared to, say, the Drowsy. The last card we're going to be looking at from Scarlet and Violet base set today, it was the one that right out of the gate in 2023, it was the hot card in the set as far as the one that did at least well on the market a couple of years ago, and it is one that is popular, with the waifu collectors in Japan. And so we have the Merriam with the market price at $28, with sales happening at $26, $31, $28, $27, $31, $27, $28, and $27. And if we go to eBay, we see PSA 9s are happening at $32, PSA 8s are at $21. So again, it is the risk you play whenever you send in for grading, but you will lose roughly about a Happy Meal if it comes back a 9 compared to a 10. And then I know I saw a PSA 10 sale. I think we just have to scroll down. Yep, a $160 sale and a PSA 10. And so, again, I've said this on here before, and I'm going to continue to give y'all reminders. If you are considering grading with PSA, look at the backs of your cards. Obviously, you want to make sure it's centered, but also look at those rounded corners. If you have a little touch of white, in my experience, and I do send in, I'm not an expert, I'm not saying I'm a grading expert at all, but I do send in cards to PSA 10 every week, both sports and Pokemon, 4 Pokemon cards on the back. They really will let a teeny touch of white go through for their PSA 10 standards. But once you have more than that, or if it's very noticeable, it hits it right at that 8 or 9, and in the rare case, an 8.5 range. So something just to be mindful of when you're sending in to grading. You got to look at the backs of your cards, folks. If we go to the population report, we see we have 5,464 PSA 9s with 4,510 PSA 10s, and then a PSA auction realized price at $32 for a PSA 9, I believe. So similar to the Gardevoir, we have the 10 population really equivalent to the 9 population compared to, say, the Drowsy or the Slowpoke, where that range is a little bit more, it's a little bit more of a spread. And so I hope that you were able to get something positive out of today's Scarlet and Violet Sunday. I hope that helps you in your buying, your selling, your trading, just your overall collecting experience. Please remember that you're important in this world. You matter. There is somebody out there that cares about you, and make sure that you have somebody in your life to talk to. I greatly appreciate you spending time with me on Sunday, and I will see y'all next Scarlet and Violet Sunday. Bye-bye.